Now at 6, strong winds snapped trees, damaged power lines, and even destroyed buildings across the state. Tonight we have crews on scene to give us a look at the damage. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Annette Montgomery. And although those storms have passed, the cleanup process is just beginning. Let's get right out to Fox 61's Jamel Johnson, who is live from Lighthouse Point Park in New Haven, which is now closed for the foreseeable future. Jamel, what damage are you seeing out there right now?
Yeah, Ned and Brent, that storm rampaged through Lighthouse Park, and you can see that evidence right behind me. I'll step off frame here. You can see this tree was just uprooted straight from the ground, and this is one of 50 trees that are like this. And I spoke to neighbors in the area who witnessed that storm and heard everything. They say it's like nothing they've ever heard before.
I joked that it was like being taken to the Wizard of Oz. Our house literally twisted and shook, and it lifted off a section of our roof last night around 1:30. I ran out to move my car because I was worried a tree was going to fall on it. Fortunately, it fell the other way and just missed the neighbors.
Brianna Murray described the storm that caused widespread damage across New Haven Thursday night. Murray's neighborhood is right on the waterfront. She says her neighborhood sees its fair share of storms, but nothing quite like this one.
The street just looked destroyed when we came out. There were branches everywhere, traveling from where they fell great distances. So yeah, I would say as close to tornado I've ever experienced.
Just a half a mile from where they live, Lighthouse Point stands unrecognizable.
Oh my God, guys, look. It ripped the walls off the carousel building where they have the weddings.
Mayor Justin Elliker visited the park hours after the area was destroyed.
In the carousel building, it almost looks like a bomb went off inside. A lot of the windows are blown out. There's chairs and debris that were blown 100 feet away into the playscape nearby. Glass just everywhere. It's just shocking to see. It's going to take a long time to rebuild here, and it's going to take a lot of money.
Mayor Elliker says because of the building's historic nature, some of the structure didn't have what it needed to withstand such a storm. Now the park will have to cancel any upcoming weddings being held there to allow for cleanup and renovations. Mayor Elliker says the city is working to accommodate those couples who now have to make last-minute changes to their big day.
My heart goes out to people that are in that circumstance, right? You've been planning for your big day, and then all of a sudden, something like this happens. The Canal Dock Boathouse is one of the sites. So, we're kind of scrambling to help support the couples. And, we've had some outreach from other parties too, to see if they can help.
Now again, the mayor says about 50 trees were damaged in the park. 30 of them are actually down, like the one right behind me. And the historic carousel house is structurally unstable right now, so they can't do anything in that house right now. They're trying to work to shore up the house so they can withstand any future winds that might be blowing up against it. For now in New Haven, Jamel Johnson, Fox 61.
All right, Jamel, thank you. Moving on to Milford now, where nearly a dozen homes were damaged by downed trees. Storms also caused a commercial building to partially collapse. Fox 61's Tim Latow joins us live now with more on the devastation there. Tim.
Yeah, Brent, there are dozens of downed trees here. A lot of power lines too snapped as well. This tree behind me here literally split in half at the trunk. The wind obviously was very destructive last night, taking out so many of these trees and power lines. Here's a better look at what we're seeing here. And like you said, there's a building that also partially collapsed. That's Beat Electronics on Cascade Boulevard. This tree that you're seeing was also on Cascade Boulevard as well. And a lot of the damage that we were able to capture earlier, we have some video of that as well. And so much damage really concentrated to this one part of Milford and Orange, kind of along the Milford-Orange town line there. Coming in off the highway, there wasn't a whole lot of damage, but as I got closer, man, there was just so many more trees and power lines down, and a lot of different utility crews as well working to restore the power. This particular area that we are in is sort of a business and industrial park. There's also a trailer home park as well nearby. Fortunately, those trailer homes, most of those did not appear to be damaged, thankfully. Definitely the biggest damage was Beat Electronics. That building, their warehouse was really completely dismantled by the storm. The brick wall caved inwards into the building, literally cracking off the foundation. There was also metal frames that were just pulled back and bent upright in the air as well. So a lot of damage to that building as well. We'll continue to keep you updated as we learn more about the damage and have plenty more coverage coming up in our newscast tonight. For now, live in Milford, Tim Latow, Fox 61.
A lot of damage there. Thank you, Tim. And continuing with our storm coverage, lightning hit a building in a neighborhood early this morning, which sparked a serious fire. Fox 61's Joe Monty was at the scene in Berlin with a reaction from neighbors and the owner.
It was a regular Wednesday night on Worthington Point Road in Berlin. Neighbors didn't realize that the next morning they were in for an experience that was shocking, to say the least.
I've never heard a sound like that before in my life.
Kathleen Welch, a neighbor, says a little after 1 o'clock Thursday morning, lightning struck like she never heard or felt before. It shook her home. Then she saw bright orange light coming through the window.
I looked out and I saw the flames, and I immediately called 911.
The building, Central Connecticut Electrolysis, was the office of a small business that did hair removal, owned by Welch's neighbor, the Levacs. Kent Levac says in the fire, his wife lost a lot.
Her equipment, all their files, furniture, artwork, normal stuff in a medical professional setting.
It's Kent's wife's business. He says they're shocked, but they're happy no one was hurt. Kathleen Welch says the fire department responded quickly and did a great job, but during the commotion, her home took some damage.
It melted my porch, it melted my fence. My windows are totally smashed open. I feel like so happy to be alive, and I still have a house.
Welch says that she feels blessed that the lightning didn't hit her home. She says despite the damage, she's thankful that she still has a roof over her head. For now in Berlin, Joe Monty, Fox 61.
Hi, Joe, thank you. And this is what people in Orange woke up to this morning. More downed trees and utility poles caused road closures today, according to officials there. The Orange Fire Department is urging drivers to avoid those blocked off roads. So let's get over to Chief Meteorologist now, who's been tracking these storms before and after they hit the state.
Yeah, Rachel, straight line winds were a big reason for a lot of the damage we're seeing.
You know, a lot of people are going, but it looks like a tornado hit, and absolutely, but we actually clocked an observed wind speed of 103 miles per hour at New Haven's Lighthouse Point Park. I mean, that's the kind of straight line winds you're dealing with, and when you hear that number, you go, oh yeah, I mean, that can do a lot of damage. And we'll talk more about it in a moment. I just wanted to show you there is a thunderstorm in the state right now. It previously had a severe thunderstorm warning associated with it because it actually caused some damage in Massachusetts and Wilbraham. So this is in Danielson and Killingly. The warning has been dropped, which is always good news. But still, if you're driving through this, some gusty winds, some heavy rain, I don't think there's any hail associated with it. And give it another half an hour or so, and it will be Rhode Island's problem. But this is what the radar looked like last night as we slept. Very highly localized damage to Milford, Orange, and New Haven. This was the worst of it between 1 a.m. and around 1:45. And you can see the storm reports, again, clustered in those towns and really nowhere else in the state. And here is that 103 mile per hour gust. And what's interesting is just to the north at Tweed Airport, the peak gust was only 37 miles per hour. So that is how localized it was. Meantime, most of us are seeing a nice evening. We'll do this again tomorrow, not the stormy part, but the sunshine, reduced humidity, and a chance for a pop-up thunderstorm later in the day coming up. We'll explain.
All right, Rachel, thank you. Well, the man accused of stabbing his ex-girlfriend to death was in New Haven court today. Matthew Almontes is charged with murder and tampering with evidence in the death of Tisha Marinocchio. Police say this happened yesterday afternoon in an Orange Street apartment complex. They say Marinocchio called 911 saying her ex-boyfriend stabbed her and he left with the knife. She was rushed to the hospital where she later died. Officers quickly found Almontes nearby and the knife inside a dumpster in the rear alley of the apartment building. The judge increased his bond to $2 million. He did not enter a plea. And in Portland, the man killed in a deadly motorcycle crash last night has been identified now. Portland police say 46-year-old David Garneau hit the side of an SUV and was thrown off and then was hit by another car. It happened around 5:30 p.m. on Route 17 and Gospel Lane. Garneau was flown to the hospital where he later died from his injuries. Anyone with information on that crash is asked to contact Portland police.
Tonight, 11 people are facing federal charges in what prosecutors call one of the largest marriage fraud schemes in U.S. history, with some sham marriages arranged right here in Connecticut. It's alleged the facilitators of the marriages paired U.S. citizens with foreign nationals, mainly from China. In an effort to obtain green cards, there were allegedly fake weddings and staged photographs to make the relationships appear legitimate. Prosecutors say in reality, a couple would often meet for the first time just before obtaining a marriage license. Attorney General Todd Bland said it's a scheme that's been going on for at least the past decade.
This is one of the largest marriage fraud prosecutions in United States history. This scheme was not a quick fly-by-night operation, but rather a years-long, multi-million-dollar cottage industry to criminally assist people who would not or legally could not otherwise become citizens of the United States. The men and women who facilitated this scheme were all naturalized citizens originally from China and one green card holder.
And according to the indictment, some people paid up to $100,000 to illegally obtain U.S. citizenship. The network was based in New York, but also said to be overseas and throughout several states. The defendants have each been charged with conspiracy to commit marriage fraud and immigration fraud.